and by you all getting deported, I'm talking about all of their henchmen. And that's really what it is. It's like, get rid of their gladio, get rid of the trigger puller. So even with that being said and done, in terms of, the Jacobins, basically like I said, whenever a bank needs to wreck a society that is coming out from underneath their monetary systematic control, they send in the Jacobins. And they play this game of, first it's literally like Google economic hitman description of what his job is. That's how it progresses. It starts out with them saying, "Hey, can we buy you off?" "Okay, we can't buy you off." "Okay, well then we'll drug you and get you on video doing something compromising with a child or killing a woman or something equally compromising. Or we'll throw women at you from your past. Say, hey, say he did this. Say she did that," right? So that plays out. If they can't get you that way, then they're going to just try to assassinate you. And this is literally how these people operate. Or they'll try to legally wrangle you. They will try to legally tie you up with bureaucratic documentation, writs and such, right? And if they can't get you like that, then God really likes you. Moving along, though, and that's what the banks do, is that they play that game. So when the guy from the book, The Political Hitman, I think got assassinated eventually, when he was telling you that he was the jackal, he's talking about the Jacobins. He was at a different stage of the game. He was the negotiator. The rest of these people are who they send in when they can't get you with money, assassinations, or smirchment. They start sending in the terrorists to destabilize the environment to make you look incompetent, so that way they can either get rid of you, through vote of no competency, or they can engineer the situation so that they cause just enough chaos where you have to resign, or that they can say, "Oh, look, we found. Look, this general is willing to step in and protect the people. Oh, got a new dictator in office now, and you just kicked out the guy who was actually looking out for you." So that's the kind of thing we're dealing with here, is that they do this everywhere. And what you begin to discover is that a lot of the older components of the OSS, right, CIA, and even the thing going on now is, with the regular CIA, or here's the thing. These people are cornered in the FBI. These people are cornered in the CIA. These people are, from what I can understand now, almost completely purged from the NSA.
I want to point out, David, this isn't just happening in the United States to the Orange Man. It's happening. In India.
System everywhere. This is their terrorist system everywhere. Every so-called revolution that jumped off, except for a few places, have all been engineered.
Do this globally, right?
So let me put it this way. I mean, no, and listen, their whole thing was this is what they were planning, right? It's just their systemic plan was, let's wreck everyone's country except for China, and we'll allow China to reorganize while the virus is going on, and we'll make sure China gets the vaccine first, so we can make a situation where China is a country that looks good and everyone has to kiss their ass to get the vaccine. I can't begin to tell you how many videos I've seen where they're like, China's developing this new technology. You mean this stuff they stole? Which is really messed up, because you have to understand what the culture of the criminal cartel of pigs has done at a sociological level for development. It's basically trained an entire population to be cheaters, to be disingenuous. And it's one of those things where India is demonstrating what happened during the conversation of the G7 meeting. Or when I was telling you, they were having that private meeting, and they already had put together 3 different, plans of action for how they were going to deal with, the criminal cartel of pigs. Mm-hmm. One was, we're just going to isolate you and not do any business with you. And if you step outside of line, we're all just going to crush you. Now Russia's not on their team, and Pakistan has to be on their team because they don't have any other option. And then Iran, listen, China just made a horrible mistake by walking into Iran and saying, hey, we'll give you guys $500 billion if you partner up with us. And Iran is a nation run by completely criminal, morally and spiritually bankrupt pedos anyway. Whether you want to believe that or not, they were total pedos. Gross. Total pedos. You know? But I digress. So, the hard reality of the situation is this, which is Israel put out a statement. No, we're not going for that. Not only did Israel put out a statement, no, we're not going for that. It was a slap in the face. Like, how could you rearm our mortal enemy when Russia just helped us kind of situate that? Even though, we're not really too deep in Russia, but so China is becoming more and more isolated. But it's not just that they're becoming more and more isolated. The plan was to isolate them. And now what you're starting to see is everyone's like, we're getting our business out of you. We're removing we're going to, once all these companies leave over the next 4 months, I guess, about the end of the year, because that's the time, people. By then, the dam will already popped within the next 6 months, and China will not be able to successfully maintain cohesion of its military, of its citizenry, of its military social police, or even of its paramilitary police. And essentially what's going to happen is that, again, and I said this already, some people say, how could you say some of these secrets? It's like, it's just common knowledge. What are you talking about? Some of this stuff is just SOP, and not only that, you got parts of the Defense Department kind of dropping hints like, oh, we know you know what we're doing next, right? So you got the U.S. government taking former Special Forces people and people who were close to Special Forces selection that were Asian, or Asian-looking, if you will, who could pass for Chinese, and they're basically giving them, up to language training, while giving them up to language training in Mandarin and Cantonese, dialects, right? It's pretty much like, hey, here's $2 million, go do this. So you're Asian, you're getting selected directly by the U.S. government, you can pass, and you're being sent into China to pass while you're running around the country listen, China is, like I said, it's got the biggest, weakest military on the planet. And I say that because they're losing, listen, a third of their military is gone, folks. A third of the military is already just wrecked by the coronavirus. And they try to put it out there like, oh, they're strong. No, dude, they did not get proper treatment. They did not get proper, therapeutics and treatment to manage it before it broke out. Their navy's gone. The version of the Navy they have now, people who never even had a chance to properly finish their training at school. So everything's like OTJ, and it's all just a front. It's like, okay, you guys look in your uniform and you can drill well. But the point I'm getting across by saying this is that they're trying to force. Let me finish. They're trying to force 50 to 60-year-old men, 40-year-old men, late 40-year-old men, to put back on their uniform and reassert back military service. They're trying to order them to do this. And if you're at the point where you're trying to pull from your veterans population, you cut the benefits off of, by the way, and fired early and took away their packages, literally, they're so strapped for bodies to man their military, because they know it's about to get ugly, that they're literally trying to force senior citizens to put back on their uniform.
David, I want to talk about what's going on with the banking here in the United States, because I know that there was some scandals that India was reporting on in China regarding their banking system, but go ahead.
You better get your money out of banking institutions that have Chinese investment. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. To the point where, honestly, cryptocurrency, wait a second, let me say this. This is not financial advice. I'm not I'm not a certified accountant. I'm not a certified financial planner. I am not a banker or an investment banker, right? I don't even work at a bank, but I can tell you this by just the writing on the wall. I can tell you what other people are saying, and I agree with. There we go. I can tell you that. And it's entertainment. This next little part of our conversation is for entertainment purposes only. Because maybe you'll laugh and say he's crazy. I made you laugh. Good. It was comedy. Moving along. The currency is going to be a safe haven for your day-to-day financial transactions. But more importantly, it's not just that it's a safe haven for your day-to-day financial transactions. It's more so a matter of the Trump administration has a plan to deal with how they're going to deliberately crash the dollar anyway, because they have to. They have to crash the dollar because, remember, Chinese Communist Party was planning on after the country crashed, just in case, they were going to try to take that several $1 trillion that they stole from the Chinese people and just immigrate to America and run around trying to buy everything up. Like they're trying to operate like the Nazis. That's why I keep telling you, the Nazis were Boy Scouts once you find out what these people did. And you're like, that's crazy, that's crazy. I'm like, trust me, you're going to be like Hitler was vintage fascist. These people are something beyond that. Anyway, so in terms of the banking system, a lot of the banks are cutting off cards. They're halving people's credit. They're reducing people's credit. For God's sakes, my credit union stole 50 cents from me. When I was over in Asia, they took my credit card from me and locked it in an ATM machine 4 times. The 4th time, I was able to stop them before they were able to do it, but I count that as number 4. Not only that, but they kept locking my card over and over and over again. And the reality is, again, that's that balloon stuff. But these banks are desperately trying to protect the Chinese economy because they have Chinese investment. So if their Chinese investment goes, if China goes belly up, they lose all of that profitability. They're already insolvent, but they become obvious to everybody that they're insolvent. And that means they don't have your money because they're giving it to China right now. They're literally playing a Ponzi scheme of Peter to Paul. And people would say, well, why are they doing that? It's like because they lose. Let me give you a great example. A certain cryptocurrency, right? I'm not even going to say its name. But a certain cryptocurrency was being run and founded by a known pedophile who got caught with anywhere from 150 to maybe 500 terabytes. So 150 to 500 terabytes of child pornography. He was running a distribution hub, and he created a particular type of cryptocurrency. I won't say the name, but I can tell you this. Everybody was waiting on its main net and its main node to come online, and it took forever. But the point of the matter is, people knew the guy was a massive child pornography distributor and were still trying to protect the value of this cryptocurrency because they didn't want to lose their money. They had no integrity. You had people knowing that, buying in, and they're like, I don't care, man. I'm about to, excuse my French. They're like, I don't care. I'm about to be able to buy a Lambo. And I'm just thinking, like, are you serious? So he eventually stepped down as like the director of the company, but it's too late. We already know what you guys are. We already know what your money's for. But the point is, the same thing is going on with the American banking system. And this goes back to the PPP loans and the EIDL grants, where you had these people these American citizens, acting as frontmen for these, fake sort of quasi-American companies to siphon. Here's something crazy. So all those stolen identities were used to create fake accounts to steal billions, tens of billions, out of the U.S. grant system, the Emergency CARES Act. But don't worry, they had American foot soldiers involved, or American attaches, or Gulf